Sheriff David Beth from the Kenosha Police Department, which obviously is getting a lot of attention today, had some incredibly problematic things to say about Black suspects in a statement that he gave in a press conference in 2018. Now, let me give you some context before we toss to this video, because the vicious words you're about to hear were in response to Black suspects who had apparently engaged in theft at a mall. As the officers pursued them, they got into a car crash with a driver, 16-year-old who was on the road at the time. Luckily, there were no serious injuries as a result of that. But Sheriff David Beth wanted to take a very draconian approach to these types of suspects. So what did he have to say? Well, let's
put them in jail. Let's stop them from truly, at least some of these males going out and getting 10 other women pregnant and having small children. Let's put them away. At some point, we have to stop being politically correct. And I don't care what race, I don't care how old they are. If there's a threshold that they cross, these people have to be warehoused. No recreational time in the jails. We put them away. We put them away for the rest of their lives so that the rest of us can be better. Other countries don't have the crime rates that we do. We have to figure out why. And part of it is because these kids go to school, they participate in school. If they don't participate in school, they are found jobs. And if they do commit a crime, they lose their licenses for the rest of their lives and they get put away. In this country, in this community, in this state, we have to get to the point that we no longer will put up with the garbage people that fill our communities, that are our cancer to our society.
All right, Ben, there's a lot to dive into there. But again, I want to reiterate, this is the current sheriff of Kenosha, Wisconsin, David Beth. And there is reason why we're bringing this up, because some are questioning why is it that the local police department would be so complimentary and nice to armed militias that showed up on the night that demonstrators were protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake, which, by the way, that shooting was done by a cop with the Kenosha Police Department. So that's why we're bringing this up. I wanted to get your thoughts on what he said there.
Yeah, I think it's revealing. I also think it's terrifying, and I think it should put into context for everybody how moral these people feel. They feel like they're on the side of justice and righteousness. And when we hear them, we hear how sadistic they really are, right? But this is what they're carrying out with the same vigor and passion. They are fighting for things that we would fight against our entire lives. And he's doing it with the level of clarity. Like he really feels like he's had an epiphany, and that he's gonna bring this great solution to his city. And his solution is something along the lines of fascism.
Yeah, and what's also incredible is how he listed all of the issues, like his perceived issues with society, but then his solutions were literally the very policies that we've actually been implementing in this country that have led to more poverty and more so-called crime in the country. And so what do I mean by that? He mentions how we have so much crime in the United States. Look, I don't know which countries he's comparing us to, but keep in mind that the United States is unique in criminalizing all sorts of nonsense, including things like marijuana possession. And then we also bully other countries, allies of ours, to engage in the war on drugs, which has imprisoned countless African-American men in this country, right? In fact, I mean, there have been studies done showing that while white people and black people use marijuana at similar rates, Black individuals are 4 times more likely to be prosecuted for possession, simple possession of marijuana. And so our punitive justice system, a justice system that's been very reliant on punishment as opposed to rehabilitation, has been a complete and utter disaster for this country. It has led to higher rates of recidivism. We imprison more people in the United States than literally any country in the world. Any country in the world. Okay, so for him to say like, oh, you know what? We're not imprisoning enough people. Maybe that's the problem. No, I think the problem is that we're imprisoning too many people for nonsense issues, and we're doing it in the most punitive way without even considering rehabilitation. That rehabilitation is not a thing in our justice system. And again, and that's the part of the reason why we have such a high recidivism rate. When you look at the Nordic model, when you look at Scandinavian countries, they have far shorter prison sentences, and they are very focused on rehabilitation as opposed to just simply punishing people in the harshest possible way. And they have much lower recidivism rates. You see how that works? Yeah, it's just, the statement that he made about them having children, like
that's the thing. And the only other thing I want to say about this guy is that he's trying. I want to ask him a question like I would ask almost any racist a question. Like when they give these stats, that he thought he was giving stats there, but when he gives this information, I want to ask them what he thinks is the cause of these crimes, right? Because it generally boils down to one or two things. Either you address the systemic level issues that create crime, and we all know crime is an economic phenomenon, or you think that there's something morally wrong, inherently morally wrong with a group of people. And if he doesn't think that there's something morally inherently wrong with these people, then let's talk about the reasons there's crime in the first place. But they don't want to do that, nor do they want to admit that they're actually racist by saying that they look at this group and think that there's something inherently morally wrong with those people.
Well, normally I say actions speak louder than words, and I think in most cases they do. But with the case of Sheriff David Beth, it's his words and his actions.
Yes.
And during a recent press conference, he was asked about why his police department was working so closely with the armed militia that showed up at the Kenosha demonstrations. And take a look at what his answer was.
Sheriff, you did not deputize them, you made that very clear, but there are videos of sheriff's deputies in those barricades tossing waters out of the hatch of that, encouraging their presence here. Why did that happen?
Our deputies would toss a water to anybody. If someone came walking past, I don't care if they're a protester or who they are, they would pass water. We have cases, people have come to our command post into this building, we have pallets of water and Gatorade.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm personally not buying that. I didn't see protesters getting bottles of water. I also did not see the cops tell the protesters that they appreciate them, but they certainly did to the armed militia members.
Yeah. We get tear gas, they get water. It's clear as day.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.